Have you ever found the topic of exercise a little confusing? As in, what are the benefits of each type and what might be the minimum requirements for optimal health, high fitness, and maximal function? In this video, I'll clear up the confusion on exercise and give you a template that will help you understand what exercise can do for you and how you can easily get the most out of your training. Hi, I'm John Zombro, and I hope you're having a phenomenal day. The subject of optimizing exercise for health and fitness and making it fit each person's unique characteristics is near and dear to me. I've been doing this for over 35 years, and today I'm going to share with you some of my methods and secrets. We'll take a look at a distillation of exercise research along with my experience in working with thousands of clients and describe a simple, effective approach to training. This is actually a proprietary system that I developed and have used for many years with most of my coaching and consulting clients as well as athletes at every level. As exciting as I find this topic, I realize it might seem to be a bit formidable to some of you. Don't worry, I'm going to lay it all out in table form. This means I'm going to use the dreaded whiteboard. The only thing that strikes more fear into an audience than a whiteboard is a PowerPoint presentation. So hopefully you'll view this as the lesser of two evils. I'll also share the information as a graphic, just in case my handwriting leaves a little something to be desired. Are you ready? Let's dive into all about exercise. You'll recall that we've previously talked about movement as being an umbrella under which we have activity and exercise. And what I want to do today is primarily focus on exercise and talk about the minimum effective dosage that will get us the maximum results with our fitness and health. However, if I go back to activity, general daily activity is really what we do to maintain circulatory function and metabolic idling in the body. You'll be familiar with the activity tracker models, which suggest getting 10,000 steps per day. And depending upon your stride length, that might work out to be as much as 5 miles. At an hour, if we're walking, this model might only get you 3 or 4 miles. And that's actually a little bit lower than some of the newer research that looks at hunter-gatherers that say it might be 180 minutes or 3 hours of movement per day that's ideal, or of activity. However, what I've found working with a lot of people is if I ask for 3 hours, I'm probably not going to get that. But if I ask for 1 hour, most often that's the case. In fact, you're not giving it to me if you're doing that. You're giving the gift of health and fitness to yourself. So that works out to be about 7 hours per week, and again, activity is cumulative, so it doesn't have to be a continuous walk. You tend to get these benefits, and it may even be more desirable to move more randomly throughout the day. Any type of movement goes, and this really does keep that metabolism idling and prevents stalling and stasis. But what we really want to talk about today is exercise, and so what I've done is I've taken a look at how the research breaks down the different categories of exercise and tried to organize them so we can explain them fairly clearly. So the first thing that we need for health and fitness, we benefit from, that is unique, is aerobic exercise. And ideally, we should be doing aerobic exercise 3 days per week and about 30 minutes per session. Now, this is an interesting thing because 30 minutes is quite a bit better than 20 minutes, but 60 minutes is marginally better than 30, if at all. So 30 is kind of a sweet spot there. It adds up to about 90 minutes per week, and we want to do this at a fairly easy, low intensity, which is less than 70% of maximum heart rate, or the number 180 minus your age. That's Dr. Phil Maffetone's model there, and it's very effective to quickly establish a comfortable working rate for aerobic exercise. This increases our circulation, improves our sleep, and also improves brain function. In fact, it's been shown to increase brain growth, specifically what's known as hippocampal neurogenesis via brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, which aerobic exercise stimulates. Then we look at what I call MOSTA, and this is mobility stability exercise, and so it's kind of a broad category, but we want to do this about 5 days per week, and the reason is things that maintain our ability to move and function and have our connective tissues maintain elasticity require a little bit more frequent reminder. And that's also true for how the neural system functions with movement quality. But it only takes about 10 minutes to get these benefits, so you don't need to do too much of it, and that adds up to about 50 minutes per week. This can take many forms. It can be via a class or a personal practice that you might have. And maintaining mobility and stability helps with our comfort, ease of movement, it decreases things like back pain, and also improves posture, which reflects our attitude towards life. Then we go to art or resistance exercise, and this is strength training, that type of thing. And we want to do this 2 days per week. And have about 10 minutes under load. So specifically what that means is if, let's say, you're lifting a weight, you would say lift the weight for 30 seconds and then not time the recovery until you lift again. So trying to add that up to about 10 minutes per workout. Outstanding. It is valuable with resistance training to, at least on some of the exercises, go to fatigue or muscular failure to stimulate the best response. And at a minimum, I like to recommend a 1-to-1 work-to-rest ratio. So in other words, if you're doing 10 repetitions of an exercise that requires 30 seconds, it's appropriate to rest for at least 30 seconds before beginning the next set or exercise. And I think we all know that obviously this increases strength, but it maintains our lean body mass or our muscle mass, which helps movement and sports performance at any age, but particularly as we get older, it's critical to maintain muscle mass and bone density and metabolic health. Then we have HIIT, or sometimes referred to as HIIT, high intensity interval training. Well, my interpretation of this is a little different than some of what's out there, and I'm going to explain that. We really only need to do this 1 day a week to get a very effective stimulus, and we only need about 6 minutes total of time, kind of like under load again, using that same principle. Where I'm a little different is I like to recommend using about 75 to 85% of maximum effort. Some of the protocols that you'll see out there, recommend trying for 100% effort with very short recoveries. And what ultimately happens is movement quality degrades. And as a physical therapist, I can't endorse moving in inefficient patterns, which increase injury risk and also, decrease the quality of movement overall. What we're looking at here with our 6 minutes is doing 1 to 3 minute work intervals. So that might be 6 times 1 minute, 2 times 3 minutes, 3 times 2 minutes, you get the picture. And with this, we want about a 1 to 3 work to rest ratio. So, for example, if it's 6 times 1 minute in that model, we would do a minute of higher intensity effort, whatever that is, whether that's circuit training, cycling, swimming, running, what have you. And then we'd rest for 3 minutes, and that rest is active recovery. So you're moving. If it's a runner, it's walking, perhaps jogging, but it's not standing still. This type of exercise is very unique because it increases our power, which is the ability to sustain effort or force over time or distance, and also has been shown quite strongly to improve insulin sensitivity. We know we can do that quite a bit and should with diet, but exercise is also a powerful tool for regulating this master hormone. Then we get to sprint. And I always get pushback with sprinting when I'm talking to a group because like, I don't run, or I haven't done that since I had a negative experience that involved vomiting in a 7th grade PE class. That's not really what this is about. You can sprint any way that you want. You can sprint while running if you're a runner and that's orthopedically sound or orthopedically appropriate for you. But you can do this on a bike, in a pool, walking up a hill. Doesn't really matter. We're just looking at that super high effort. Only needs to be done 1 day a week, only should be done 1 day a week, and only needs to be done for about a minute total to get this response. 90 to 95% maximum effort. Why I never ask for 100% effort with my athletes and clients. When you ask for 100%, you tend to get this, and they're straining, movement quality is degraded, and injury risk goes up. But if we stay in that flow zone, 90 to 95%, we get all the benefits with many less risks. However, that minute has to be broken up into small chunks, less than or equal to 15 seconds. And so an example would be doing 6 times 10 seconds of a sprinting type activity. True sprinting can't be done for longer than that. So, if someone says, oh, well, I want to, sprint for a minute, now that's true, at the Olympic or world-class level, that probably can be done. But for most of us, we can't sustain the energy systems required to produce a maximal sprinting effort much longer than that. So that's why we're there. Unlimited recoveries, that's very important. in order to get quality and have high effort, we need to be fairly rested and refreshed in between these bouts. And so that rest can primarily be an active rest, but sometimes it actually requires some stationary time as well. And sprinting is very unique because it's probably our most powerful fat burning tool that we have in exercise, and that goes against what a lot of people think, because they think, you can burn off lots of calories doing aerobic exercise. Well, that's partially true, but what this sprinting does is it revs up our metabolisms and sends strong messages to the body to utilize fat for fuel, and it's doing that primarily by increasing our testosterone and our growth hormone. So we get kind of through all of this, and then you're probably thinking, gosh, you've given me 5 categories of exercise, and maybe it's a little bewildering, but it doesn't have to be. What we can do, and what I do when I work with people, is I blend these 5 components into 3 or 4 workouts less than an hour per week. And so 3 45-minute workouts per week can get most of these goals, and certainly 4 at 60 will suffice for even most athletic people, which is really fun to know about. Speaking of that, we want to keep fun and play in our exercise. We all have jobs, and hopefully we love our jobs and they're not drudgery, but definitely this is not work. This is fun. And always celebrate the joy of movement. We're given this gift to be fully functional humans on the planet, and in fact, we give ourselves this joyous gift of health and fitness through movement. But we have a responsibility to do that for the human genome and to keep the human active and pass those traits on to all of our population. We also need variety, and the only reason a person should get bored or could get bored with an exercise program is because it lacks creativity. So if we appropriately apply science and keep some variety in there, really works well. And then the last thing, which I encourage everyone to do, is practice moderate consistency. Really what that means is do most of your stuff most of the time, and you'll get most of the results. In fact, trying to be perfect, and I've hit this before in the basic principles lecture, not so good. So that's kind of a quick summation on what we've got here with exercise, and I'll just hit them again really quickly. We've got aerobic exercise, which is our kind of like low, slow cardio mojo. I like to call it that. Some people call it LISS, or low intensity steady state. That's excellent. This again takes many forms. You may have a person that does some core strengthening and dedicated stretching, yoga class, Pilates class, etc. All good. Here in resistance, this can be done with weights, machines, bands, body weight, all sorts of ways, and very effective. High intensity interval training, any mode that is fun and safe for an individual. And with sprinting, again, we really want to be careful to make sure that not everyone thinks they should go out and run at maximum velocity. That might not be appropriate, but there are ways that most people can do sprinting effort. So that's a quick summation, and then I'll come back with just a few summary comments. So I'm hoping and actually betting that you found this information helpful in understanding the mystery of exercise. As you know, I presented what represents the minimal amounts that the average exerciser might consider doing to reap maximum benefits. Please keep in mind that everyone's going to be a little different, and based either on goals or orthopedic limitations or other issues, these categories may need to be adjusted. And of course, there's a significant amount of crossover among those categories, and certain activities can confer multiple benefits at once, such as a fitness class or sports participation. And when a person has athletic goals, we may intentionally utilize more of one or two categories and less of another. Now that you have a handle on the kinds of exercise available and what their benefits are, I want to help you design a fitness program that fits you. In an upcoming video, I'll go over some of the specific examples of how I combine these 5 elements of aerobic, mobility, stability, resistance, high intensity interval, and sprint training into simple, safe, and effective workouts that you can do just a few times per week for less than an hour and really get amazing results. If you're digging what I'm putting out, by all means, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching and joining me in the quest for ultimate wellness. I really appreciate your support. Until next time, this is Coach JZ, signing off from the Lifetime Body, where science meets common sense and where you can make your body last a lifetime.